Neptune is at Pisces 24 for quite a while, about 6 weeks. Pisces 24, an inhabited island. Self-identification. In every sense, our ego is our version of the truth of life. We cannot grasp reality at all without ego. We cannot interact. We cannot even centralize our own consciousness into any defined point of comprehension. We come to notice that we clash egos with people who significantly differ from us on matters of deepest importance. On a grand scale, this explains religious wars and the mutual disgust between the haves and the have-nots. As we mature, we soften our insistence upon our version of truth and open up more to the fact that others are free to exercise their right to see things differently to us. They inhabit their little island and we ours. So, we all live on the little island, an inhabited island. On the one hand, this could be even seen as physical, where you've got lots of people in your space, and you want to relax a bit more, but you can't because there are people around. And this is the underwriting reality of many people living in busy countries. Most countries now feel to be overpopulated, and so you have to come to terms with that. And when you are close to others, you brush up against them in a frictional way very often. So we are discussing here how we cope with that, how we cope with others. Many, if not most, of my clients and students really say they have a difficult time with the masses, the people generally. Individually, they can make perfectly legitimate, sensitive relationships, but with the masses is very much more difficult. And I find that too. I find it very difficult to be with lots of people, especially, particularly the unawakened. That's the whole point. Because people who are not awakening are, they dance to a different melody than mine and yours probably. And we have them to deal with. We have to come to terms with that. We share our island with others. When Neptune enters this degree, what we're trying to do is to soften the glamour between us and them. So let me just explain what I mean by glamour. It's not lipstick and high heels. It's the story that you present, not only to the world to create a bit of an illusion of what you are, a shine, but it's also the illusion you present to yourself. This is Neptune. That's what Neptune is. It's the story, the narrative we tell ourselves about the nature of reality, about the nature of this relationship, about the purpose of that job, about whether or not we're in fear or in love, and all of these story components we make up to make our lives comprehensible. And we have to center that around what is called ego, the sense of I-ness. Ego is not necessarily egotism. Egotism has a bad reputation, which it kind of deserves. It's the opposite of spiritual development. But egoism, the sense of living one's own life, one's own belief system, one's own model of reality, egoism, thoroughly beneficial for us all. So when we're talking about ego, we need to refine that sense we have of self. That's the only true possession we have. It's the only truth we have. It's self. That's our way in which we connect with life. There is no other way to connect with life than through the ego. I like what Rudyard says on this. Pisces 24. On a small island surrounded by the vast expanse of the sea, people are seen living in close interaction. Keynote: the need to consciously accept one's own personal limitations in order to concentrate one's energies and to live a centered and fulfilled life. Every individualized person is a small island in the vast ocean of mankind. The ego fulfills a necessary function as it sets boundaries and gives a specific character to the consciousness. Within these boundaries, a complex interplay, linking and integrating the various aspects of the personal life, can operate constructively. In time, these ego boundaries cannot only expand, but can become a zone of intense interchange between the inner and the outer, between the individual and the community, between man and the universe. The first duty of any man or woman is to be truly what he or she is as an individual. But this individual has a particular dharma, i.e. a place and function in a vaster whole. The island's inhabitants get subsistence from the sea, and in time learn to navigate this sea and interact with other islanders, and all eventually will come to realize their oneness within the whole earth, which includes everything. An appropriate keyword would be centralization. It's not only that the ego centers us, the centralization process is essential for us to have any sense of life and self. So that's the ego's fundamental job, is to center us as this rather than something else. And it also gives us this interaction capacity. We can interact with people because of the ego. Without the ego, we can't have a relationship. So Neptune is dissolving the glamour that we have a little bit for us all. The idea that we're different from people in this particular way can become softer, and you might emphasize the similarities rather than the differences. Yes, we both see that this way. I see it slightly differently, but it's only a slight difference. And Neptune will very likely create for us a new way of seeing ourselves. Now, this necessarily comes from having a new way of seeing the world at large. They're not different from one another. How we see who we are and how we see what is real, what's happening right now, they are aspects of each other. You can't separate them. And so what we're noticing is things in the world, the news, the current affairs, the state of life has changed so rapidly, so quickly, that nobody really understands where we're going or even where we are. This is a time of such acceleration of change that all around us has different meaning now. Necessarily, therefore, we have to become in tune with that. We have to develop a different sense of self within that. Different bits of us will be required to deal with different circumstances. There may be the need to integrate refugees in your life, to share things, open up your house to help people, to put up with supplies of food which are not coming to you because the supply chain has broken down in the world, and so on. And so we're going to have all of these things to deal with in the world now that we've not had to deal with before, and we're going to have to become a different person because of that. And this won't take the place, it's not going to take the style of concept. This is going to be one-to-one interactions with people, real feelings. And so we have to just soften the ego a little bit to accommodate strangers, different types of people, strange situations, to accommodate that. Neptune's very good at that. That's what Neptune loves to do. just to shape itself around the changing times. Neptune's great for that. So this is a period, this next 6 weeks, when we can just let go of our holding on to what we thought we had to be, and instead just feel what we are in response to these changing times. We don't have to understand this. Neptune does not bring understanding. It brings the grace of easing of change, if you will allow it to do that. But it doesn't bring understanding, not Neptune. Later, you'll look back and you'll realize that somehow you did the right thing, intuitively, unconsciously, and so on. And Neptune was the agency through which you managed to do that. But you're not going to really be able to make up your mind consciously about who to become. You just have to feel what friction there is and allow it not to be frictional. Just relax and allow things. Just flow along a little bit, and you'll end up with a more refined sense of self. Ego can be refined, and Neptune is the finest sandpaper to rub off the frictional edges of your personality.